So we've got Danny Kvyat in 12th and Pierre Gasly in 15th for today's race, in case you've forgotten. But rather worryingly, we took all the good parts off Kvyat's car and he's out-qualified Gasly. So I don't know what to do with this team. They're all over the place. Hello, welcome to Season 2, Episode 20 of Race to the Top. I'm Ian, and in today's episode we have got the Milan GP. There's a 40% chance of rain, but it's partly cloudy at the start of this race. And as you can see, we get to lap 25, which is the midway point of this race, and there's no rain in sight. So that's perfect for us with Pierre Gasly, because we're going to put him onto the soft tyres to start. Kvyat, I'm not so sure about him. We may sort of start him on a slightly different tyre, but we're certainly going to go the race trim, which, well, look, 15% performance increase is perfect for us. But what I might do is I might start him on the softs. That could be I could live to regret that. But we are going to do the race trim and light-footed tyres. Actually, no, we're not. Oh, I don't know what to do. We're going to go the race trim. Race trim on soft, with the soft tyres wearing more slowly on Gasly. We're going to leave the soft tyre knowledge there. Again, that could come back to bite me. The reason being, I do think, as I've said before, Pierre Gasly, we're going to start him on the softs, and we're going to do a one-stopper. We're going to go soft. Kvyat, he won't be able to do that. He just will not be able to manage 25 laps on those soft tyres. So we're probably going to start him on the softs and then go on to the hards. We don't have any knowledge on the hard tyres. We never really... I think we did run them a little bit in practice, but certainly not enough to get any knowledge. So we will have to bear that in mind. But we're kind of hoping that if we start seeing rain, we can pit him around lap 12, then get him onto the mediums, and then pit again for the rain if it comes towards the end of the race. That's my theory, but let's get into today's grid then. So it's Sebastian Vettel on pole. He's starting on the medium tyres with Valtteri Bottas alongside him. Then it's Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen in 4th place. They're all starting on the softs, just like Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen for Red Bull Racing. They're in the 3rd row. Then you've got Felipe Massa, Sergio Perez. He's starting on used soft tyres, so you could expect to see him pitting quite early. Then behind him, you've got Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon. They're on the mediums. That's quite interesting for us. Nico Hülkenberg on the mediums. Danny Kvyat, there he is on the soft tyre there. Then you've got Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz. They're starting on hard compound tyres. Then you've got Pierre Gasly. He's starting on the soft, so we could move up a few places. He's ahead of Mark Webber, who's starting on the hards, and it looks like everyone's starting on the hards at the back of this grid. You've got Romain Grosjean, Jenson Button, 17th, 18th. And right at the back of the grid, you've got the Rapax team drivers of Nick De Vries and Johnny Sasotto Jr. So this could be interesting because you can expect to see Gasly jumping like Alonso, maybe squeezing ahead of Sainz. Danny Kvyat should move up as well. We could expect to see him up around 8th place, but he will have to pit early and then go onto the hard tyres and try and go to the end of the race. So that's what we're sort of going for, because everyone else is sort of going for a very similar strategy of trying to go deep at the beginning of this race, probably because they don't know where the rain's going to come, if the rain's going to come. So let's focus on Danny Kvyat then, as we are 5 red lights, and away we go. Not a great start, but not terrible either. There he goes. Instantly, he moves ahead of Hülkenberg, but Hülkenberg's not yielding up the space too quickly, as Kvyat has run so wide and his race is already done, just like that. Gasly, meanwhile, he's pushing up. He's jumped just ahead of Stroll, but he's side by side, so he moves up into 15th place, and he just gets Stroll there, so he's moved up. He's up into 14th, and we can now start to see as he squeezes through the two McLarens, and he's up into 12th. He is absolutely flying. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to back Kvyat off now, just because I think he might be able to go the rest of this, a slightly longer stint now, because he's at the back of the grid. Let's just let him crawl around at the back of the grid, as Gasly's all the way up into 11th place. Now, what happened there is Gasly seemed to have backed off. It looks like Perez was using his ERS, so that's why Gasly fell a little bit behind there. But we're up into 11th place, and if he can hold this now, then that is excellent work. But we are also being a little bit mindful of the fuel. We want them to get to about 2 laps deficit, something like that, and then we will start backing them off. So if Gasly can keep fighting hard and maintain 11th place ahead of Hülkenberg, who's starting on the medium tyres, then that works out really, really well for us. But we've got to also keep an eye on that rain, because we don't want that rain to come down. But Gasly up in 11th is fantastic. Kvyat's already jumped ahead of the two Rapax drivers. He's back up into 11th place. Now let's keep an eye on those tyre temperatures. It seems to be very difficult to get tyre temperature in. It's only 21 degrees at the moment, so it does seem quite difficult to get the temperature into those tyres. And we will just start backing Kvyat off now. We'll get his fuel down to around 150, something like that. Once Gasly gets to 150, we'll back him right off because he doesn't seem to be having the speed at the moment to battle with battle with Perez, because Perez is stuck behind Sainz. So at the moment, Sainz is sort of pulling a little bit away, and we do have to be mindful of that. So let's back Gasly off now. He's, in saying that, he's just right on the tail of Perez, so I may have backed him off at the wrong time, but he's doing very well. I think Sainz has backed Perez into us a little bit. There goes Perez now. Perez is having a look on the inside. This is critical for Perez to get ahead because he doesn't want to fall behind us, and we might have a little look as well. That's why we've sort of backed off in the fuel, and once we get close to Sainz, then we might up our fuel burn as well, just to see if we can squeeze past him, particularly on this long main straight, which we're coming up to now, and we're closing in just a touch on Sainz, as you can see, but not enough to have a real go at overtaking him. So we can sit in 11th place quite comfortably now, because the cars ahead of us, if you look at like Verstappen, he really burns through his soft tyres very, very quickly. So you can expect to see him pitting probably first out of everyone. Perez is also on a bit of a mission because he started on worn soft tyres, as you may remember. So he's going to have to pit as well. So he needs to really get a good distance away from us, where we can sort of sit quite pretty now and just relax. Now, it's quite difficult to save fuel here, so we do have to be mindful of how quickly we conserve the fuel, because at the moment we're about minus 1.45, 1.42, something like that, as Kvyat's moving up very, very well. He's got ahead of all the cars starting on the hard tyres, but that's to be expected because he's on the soft. So he's back up into 15th place, but he's only 4 seconds behind Gasly, so he's done quite well, as Gasly's having a look a little bit, maybe. I'm going to turn the auto off, and we're going to have a look at seeing if we can do anything there, but it doesn't look like it, as Hulkenberg's just screamed past. So we'll go back onto the auto now, as we've dropped down to 12th. Hulkenberg used ERS to perfection there, but Gasly's now got a bit of work to do. He's trying to battle bravely with Hulkenberg. That works out well for Sainz because his teammates are up behind and he can hold Gasly up, even if it's just for a lap or two. As Gasly, here he goes here, he's right behind him, he just doesn't have enough juice along that main straight, and he has to kind of back, as Kvyat's having a fantastic race as well because he's battling away with Stroll. They're changing places as Webber's slipped behind him now. Kvyat's used his ERS and got ahead of Lance Stroll. Let's quickly cut to him, as Gasly's also managed to get ahead of Hulkenberg, so it's all happening here at the moment. Let's quickly cut to Kvyat then. As you can see, Kvyat's got nice clean air now, and he's got Stroll behind him for company, but he's really, really chewing through those tyres, so he's going to have to come into the pits very, very shortly. Meanwhile, Gasly's maintaining 11th place, but he's got Hulkenberg right behind him. That shows how quick the Renault is, because Hulkenberg's on the medium compound tyres, and Gasly just cannot shake him. So this shows how much there is to do, as Kvyat's been overtaken once more by Lance Stroll there. Gasly, he needs to do something. If he can get ahead of Sainz, that would be fantastic, but unfortunately I just don't think he's got the juice to do it. As no, it doesn't look like it, does it? Because Sainz is starting to pull away a touch. We also have to be mindful now of Kvyat because he's at 52% tyre wear, so he's going to be amongst the first to pit. Perez will probably pit just before him, but not by much. It'll only be maybe a lap in it, so we may even sort of have to bump sort of Kvyat up just to sort of ward off that potential. Oh, as Lance Stroll's crashed. There is no safety car, though. There was a yellow flag, but Lance Stroll is out, so that works well for Kvyat because he's up into 13th place. Gasly's in 11th still, but as you can see, there's only 3.5 seconds between Gasly and Kvyat. Kvyat ran wide on that first corner, let's not forget. So Kvyat's really, really doing well on those soft tyres. Gasly, meanwhile, is just doing so well conserving those soft tyres, so he will have to pit, and hopefully we can stretch him out, because he's done 40% tyre wear and he's on 13 laps. So let's double that. So 80%, he'll be on lap 26. So that will get him just over halfway. We pit again for the soft tyres, as long as there's no rain forecast, which at the moment there doesn't look to be. As Hulkenberg's having another look at Gasly, but just can't seem to make anything stick, unfortunately. Let's back off Kvyat just a touch. It's actually, now the tyres are up to temperature, it seems quite easy to maintain those temperatures now. They're not sort of climbing too fast. But we're a little bit stuck because Gasly can't really do anything now, and he's just trying to sort of play in the waiting game. We just need to burn through these laps, get to lap 26, 27, something like that, get him onto some fresh soft tyres, some fresh rubber. Meanwhile, Kvyat, we're looking at how many laps have we got? 36 laps to go. So he will probably just about get to lap 20, I'm going to say. So he might be able to go onto the hard tyres, which that could work out. Putting him on the softs now, he's got a bit ahead of everyone. And the beauty of that is when he goes onto the hard tyres, he's going to be ahead of them all, hopefully, because he's got through them all on the soft tyres, so he can build a bit of a lead now over these guys. Like he's 2.5 seconds ahead of Mark Webber. And Mark Webber's on the hard tyres. Kvyat will go onto the hard tyres, and he should be able to maintain that difference. But you just got to assume that all these guys on the hard tyres will drop onto the softs at some point towards the end of the race. It's everyone's definitely going onto the one stopper. Let's bump Kvyat's temperatures up because they're dropping just slightly too much for my liking. And he's doing okay at the moment. I did say at lap 20 he'd be pitting. I think that might be a bit optimistic. He might be pitting around lap 19, something like that, because he's at 30% wear at the moment. Meanwhile, Gasly's at 47%, so I'm still on track for a lap 25, lap 26, something like that. But rather worryingly for these guys, as you can see Vettel there, he's already closing up quite quickly to Sasotto Jr. in 19th place. Now, Gasly is getting on to Hulk because he's been overtaken by Hulkenberg. I wasn't watching that. I was too busy watching the minimap. So in case, if you guys saw that, then I'm glad you were observant because I wasn't, because Hulkenberg managed to get back ahead of Gasly now, and Kvyat's right behind him. There's Kvyat there in 13th place, and Kvyat's setting personal best at the moment, and we're going to go into full attack mode, and we may even consider pitting him. Let's back off Gasly a little bit, and I think we're going to pit him now. So we've got 32 laps to go, and the hard tyres, he should be able to go to the end of the race. I'm going to keep him out for one more lap. This could be a bad call, but I think it's the right call. Because, again, you're looking around 20%, you're looking at pitting, but I'm going to really, really thrash Kvyat. Let's see what he can do going flat out. So, here he is now. He's stuck behind someone. Who's he stuck behind? Is that Verstappen? Verstappen's come out onto medium tyres, but Kvyat's doing very well. And let's pit him onto the hards. And whoever it was, I can't remember your name, but I'm going to do a suggestion. We are going to add some charge to the battery. We're going to put it at 50%. You mentioned that in the previous qualifying video, so this is what we're doing. We're doing what you said. So if this goes wrong, I'm blaming you for it. But let's see what Kvyat can do once he comes in, because he's doing very well for pace at the moment. His tyre wear's at 12%, so he definitely needs to pit this lap. But he is right up on his tyre wear, which is fantastic stuff. There he goes into the pits now. Fingers crossed for a good one. It wasn't a bad stop. We didn't have any stuff up, which is important. And he comes out in 18th place. So he's, 2.5 seconds behind De Vries. He will be catching up to him very, very quickly. We can bump Gasly back up as well. So now we can kind of forget about Kvyat a little bit, because Gasly is up into 10th place. Probably not for much longer, because that's Verstappen right behind him. Because Perez has gone into the pit, so that's bumped him up a place. And I believe someone else must have done as well. Let's say Alonso. Oh, no, it would be Verstappen and Perez. So Gasly is doing fantastically well at the moment, and he's going to be able to get well past the halfway point. He will be still on target for a lap 26 stop, which works out fine for us, and he'll be able to go soft, and hopefully get to the end of the race on that. But let's keep an eye. There doesn't look to be any rain forecast, so that works out well. This is an opportunity for Gasly, but again, we need a good pit stop. We had terrible pit stops, remember, in Ardennes, so we need a great pit stop here for Gasly. Because there's only 2 stops. There's only Kvyat's 1 stop and then Gasly's 1 stop. And so we really need to do something about our pit crew if they make another mistake. But as you can see, Gasly is holding up Verstappen and Perez, which is not helping their race, but we're not battling them, so we don't really care. I mean, I would sort of say to Gasly, just let them pass, as it looks like Perez has squeezed past. Gasly's got to let Verstappen go through as well. So we've dropped down to 12th place, but our pace should start to come back to us now, because we're starting to build a bit of a lead over Webber. As you can see, there's a huge lead there, so we may even be able to have a mistake, and Gasly will still come out behind Webber. But what I'm kind of hoping for is I want to keep in touch with some of these guys like Sainz, Hulkenberg, because they've still got to pit again, and we're only 2 seconds behind Sainz, so we're not out of any chance of points just yet. as Kvyat's now battling with De Vries there and should be able to get through him, surely. Need to bump up his tyre wear a touch. So now, this is what we're going to do. Now that Gasly's in a bit of clean air, let's go into full attack mode, and let's see, once he gets... Keep an eye on that pace. Once the pace starts dropping and starts going into the negative, then we pit Gasly. But now we're going into full push mode. We should be able to make up a little bit of time. So let's have a look. We're 2.5 seconds behind Science. Keep an eye on Gasly's times in relation to Science. We want them to be closing down to within 2 seconds, something like that. Pace is doing very, very well. Tyre wear is starting to struggle a little bit. He will be able to go around probably once more, just about, as Kvyat's also got a little bit of fuel in reserve. So there goes Gasly now. So this is his final lap where he is going to be flat out, and we're putting him onto the soft tyres as well. So let's charge up the battery. Let's see what we can do. Put him onto fast. Fingers crossed for no pit mistakes. So how's he doing in relation to Science? He's under 2 seconds, so he's taken half a second out. But as you can see, his pace is starting to fall a little bit now. So we're going to have to be mindful that it doesn't drop too much. As, yeah, look, it's down into the negatives. But that previous lap should have been enough just to sort of negate that. Because Science, he's only 2 seconds up the road because he's burning through his hards as well. Fingers crossed for a good stop. Come on, boys. Front jack. There was a little mistake on the front jack, and it cost us a little bit of time, but it wasn't detrimental. And one of the good things is we didn't get the blue flag of Vettel there, but now we're going to get a blue flag from him again. So we're going to fall back, as there he goes there. So that's a little bit frustrating. So we're down into 15th place. Now with all these cars here, Science, Webber, Alonso, Grosjean, they've all got a pit again. So we'll definitely jump up ahead of Webber. I'm sort of certain of that. We're 10 seconds from Webber. I just cannot believe how many mistakes this team is having. It's ridiculous. Kvyat's also having a quick look at Button. As Gasly's already come up to Grosjean on those soft tyres, we can put him into high fuel burn mode as well because he had to yield for Vettel. So we should see Gasly. We just don't want Gasly getting stuck behind Grosjean for too long, because otherwise that could be really, really hurtful to us. As he's having a look, but he's just too far back to do anything. He gets out of the slipstream, but he's just about got him there. There goes Grosjean. He's managed to get past Grosjean. That's critical. Now he's got Alonso and Webber. Now Alonso is the next one that we have to worry about. Webber's a bit too far up the road for us to catch him before Webber will dive into the pits. Kvyat's setting personal best as he plods around in 17th place. And I don't think we're going to be scoring any points here, unfortunately, because of another pit mistake. I just don't know what we're doing wrong here, as Ocon doing fantastically well up there in 5th place. I always have a quick glance at the standings, and I'm just fascinated at how well he was doing. And I had to mention that. He's up into 5th place, but he's going to be going into the pits very shortly, I'm assuming. Now, Alonso, we're coming up to Alonso a little bit. We need to get past Alonso. Let's give him full overtake mode. Let's see if he can get past him on the first time of asking. He's got a nose alongside him, and he's gonna get ahead of him, and he does. That's perfect. So now we can back Gasly off just a little bit. So he's got that, still got a little bit of fuel burn that'll last him a little bit longer, and he's got nice clean air now. He's about 3.2 seconds away from Webber. Ocon's dived into the pits and put on so soft tyres, so that's why we're seeing him drop back a little bit. Kvyat's managed to get ahead of Jenson Button as well, but tyre temperatures are starting to drop a touch, so we do have to be a bit mindful. There's 18 laps to go. I can't see Kvyat closing up as he's 5 seconds behind Gasly. He's lost a little bit of time, and Gasly's got nice clean air here. He's got nothing to worry about. He is closing down on Webber quite quickly. He's 1.7 seconds behind Webber. So you can expect to see Webber going into the pits shortly, I'm going to assume, as Sasotto Jr. is pitting for repairs. So that's why their car is struggling. They're really, really struggling for park condition, you can tell. And the reason Kvyat is getting stuffed is because he is coming up to... he's getting blue flags. That was Hamilton going past him. So Gasly will be coming up to having... Who's that? That is Hamilton, yeah. So he'll be having Hamilton closing in on as well. Now there's a yellow flag because Hülkenberg has crashed. No safety car though, but Gasly is going wheel to wheel with Webber and gets ahead of him. He's up into 11th place. And we are, unfortunately, many, many seconds behind Carlos Sainz. And Carlos Sainz is in that final points position. So Sainz should be able to pit and maintain 10th place. But he's staying out a little bit longer. Now, the good thing is Gasly's got nice clean air, so we can sort of, let him really get some time back. He's 17.9 seconds behind Sainz. We just have to hope that Sainz has got some major problem in the pit stop, because he's doing very well. His pace is dropping off a touch, but not enough that's really going to help us. But down to 17.3 seconds. So as you can see, Gasly is closing down on the time, but unfortunately it's not enough to help, and we're going to have to back him off because his fuel is looking pretty dire at the moment. But he will be coming up to the lap, having Hamilton right behind him. Let's quickly cut back to Gasly. And so just in between Gasly is Sassoto Jr., we've lapped Sassoto Jr. That shows how bad we're going. But Hamilton will be coming in quite quickly up in Gasly's wing mirrors, so that will help on our fuel situation. But Sainz is still staying out at the moment. There he goes. So Sainz is going into the pit. So watch on the mini-map. There's Gasly there. He's just going through that second last chicane. Sainz has gone through that final chicane. So Sainz is into the pits. It was not a great pit stop. Where are we going to come out? We come out ahead of him. Oh my goodness, we've got work to do, however. But Sainz has got onto the hard tyres. Why on earth have they done that? I don't know. But we're getting blue flag. That's not good because, unfortunately for us, there you go. It helped. That was a good move. But look at how close Sainz is there, and we've got, I'm guessing that's Vettel behind us. We've let Vettel go through again. And unfortunately for us, now we've got Sainz right behind us. So this is a fight, a straight fight, Gasly against Sainz for the final points position. Kvyat's not too far behind, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to close in. So what we can do is we can bump up our Gasly's fuel burn just a touch, because he's about half a lap in the positive at the moment, and see if we can hold off a potential move. Oh man. Come on, Gasly. Come on. Let's see what he can do. We're going to do this manually now. I want Gasly to charge as much as he can, because we need to be a little bit concerned about Sainz. Although Sainz has dropped off, he's 1.5 seconds behind, but you watch how quickly that'll close back up again, because Sainz is not out of this just yet. There's still 10 laps to go. We've got quite a long way. Now, I'm also mindful we're doing okay on the tyre wear, so I might even sort of bump Gasly up with a few laps to go, something like that, and hope for the best. Now, Kvyat, meanwhile, he's on a race on his own because he's got Sassoto Jr. ahead of him, and also, I'm guessing that's Raikkonen there, so he's not got any traffic really in front of him to worry about. Sassoto Jr. might sort of come back and hurt us. Meanwhile, Gasly's maintaining that lead, 1.7 seconds. That's great work so far. Kvyat is not... I'm just a little bit... I mean, that shows... I'd love to know the difference, because there's a big gap there. What's that? It's 15 seconds between Gasly and Kvyat. I'd love to know if Gasly's just... if that's the parts on the car, or whether Kvyat's just not that good. I think that's the question that I want to ask. But rather importantly for us, Gasly's doing very well on these soft tyres. He's at 50% wear, and he's maintaining that lead, that advantage over Sainz. He's on 1.9 seconds now, so he's starting to pull away a little bit, which is great news for us, as we can bump Kvyat as well. Because although Kvyat's 14 seconds behind, if there's like a safety car or something, you know, or even a yellow flag, or if Sainz has to pit again, something, who knows? You just don't know what will happen. So I don't want Kvyat to sort of relax too much. Let's keep that fuel burn up. But we do have to conserve those tyres a little bit, because we have got 6 laps to go, 5 laps to go, something like that, and he's struggling a little bit on those hard tyres. But Gasly is doing fantastically well, as he's up to 4.6 seconds. So has Sainz been yielded? Yes, see, Sainz yielded for Bottas. Bottas went through because of the blue flag. So that's why Sainz has backed off a lot. That's why he's 5 seconds behind. Now, Bottas will be closing in on us as well. Now, it really hinges on where he closes up, because we might be able to let him squeeze past. You might be able to just see Bottas then. He was just on the screen. So he's going to be closing up to us very shortly. But rather fortunately, you've also got Raikkonen closing in on Sainz as well. So we may be okay here. Gasly's doing fine at the moment. 5.2 seconds. We haven't got Bottas on us just yet, and every lap we go past, it's good. And also, any If we have to yield and let Bottas through, we've also got the ERS system to use. Now, I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to have to put a comment. And we've got to get blue flag now. Whoever's idea it was, that was an easy blue flag there. We yielded very quickly, and that worked out fantastically well. But we're back to 2.5 seconds, because as you will see, I bet you Sainz is really, really pushing, but he's not. He's not really pushing at the moment. Now, whoever's suggestion it was about the ERS, you're a good man. You're a good man. You get my my Golden Ducker Award for outstanding achievement in the field of excellence. Because, hey, because of you, we could be picking up a point. I'm going to say it's all more me, but let's be real. I think it's you that's going to do it. 2.3 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. We've got a lap to go, because don't forget, we have been lapped. There's Carlos Sainz there, and he's really pushing. He's really going for it now. And let's push our blokes a little bit too. We do have to be a little bit mindful of Kvyat. He's really, really struggling. Gasly is now getting a blue flag. That's not what we want to see. And no! As we use the RS! Oh, Jesus, I timed that to perfection. But now we're both getting blue flag. This is disastrous. Come on. Come on. Let's go full attack mode. Go full attack mode. Final lap. We've got work to do! No! Oh! Poo is coming out. Come on. Come on, Gasly. You're fighting so hard. You've got work to do still. Come on. Come on. We're burning that last little bit of juice. We're going to do it. We get a point. We get a point. Oh my goodness. With 2 laps to go, and I just saw Sainz screaming up on that back straight. I honestly thought we were going to blow it. But we pick up a point, 10th and 12th. Oh. I actually don't know what to say about that. Amazing. We pick up a point on just luck. And hey, let's hope scrutineering, we might pick up another point. Fingers crossed for Perez or something stuffing up. No, it wasn't to be. So we only pick up a point. I sound disappointed by saying that because no one broke rules, but oh my goodness. The gap from 10th to no points was under half a second. That's how close it was. Kvyat, imagine where Kvyat would have finished if he didn't run wide. And imagine where Gasly could have finished. It wouldn't have even been close if we hadn't had that pit mistake. But we pick up a point. Gasly's now got 8 points. Kvyat's got 2. And we're into double figures. But rather interestingly, there you go, Renault and McLaren are now locked at 24 points each. McLaren's just backed off completely on the rest of this season. And they're starting to fall away. Obviously, they don't think we're going to catch them. And let's be realistic, with 5 races to go, I don't think we're going to catch them either. But also, we're now 9 points. We've maintained that 9-point deficit over the last place team, which is now Rapax, since Haas picked up that point, and they're stuck on 1 point each. Oh, I am exhausted after that. I feel like I've just driven the 50 laps around Milan. I really do. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers are feeling after that, if it ever loads. Just keep yourselves interested whilst this thinks about what it wants to do. Is there you go. So morale's gone up. I mean, Gasly should be thrilled with that. I'm thrilled with him. Not bad. Not bad at all. We came 6th in the end. We squeezed past. That was our target. Our target was 6th. I did see that in one of the mail pieces of mail before the race weekend. We were targeted 6th, and we just about achieved it. But we get more money. We're up to nearly 20 million now. Relax. Well, if you give that a like, a thumbs up, that's how many points we scored. So every time you thumbs up, 1 thumbs up equals 1 point. That's how many points we scored. That made sense in my head. I'll see you next time.